Now, the number of fines handed to lorry drivers and hauliers found carrying illegal immigrants has more than tripled over the last 3 years. The figures show that companies now owe £4 million in fines, and they come as record numbers of migrants have stormed the Channel Tunnel in recent days trying to get to the UK. Hauliers say the system is unfair. The Home Office argues that many lorries don't have basic standards of securities. Well, drivers and companies can be issued on-the-spot fines for up to £2,000 for every person found hidden on their vehicle at any UK port and the Eurotunnel. This under Home Office rules. Well, the figures obtained under a Freedom of Information request by the Press Association show that the number of fines has gone up from 998 in 2012 to 13 to 3,319 in 2014-15. Well, at least 6,500 migrants have been found in lorries during this period, although the true figure is likely to be far higher. The Home Office points out that just 7% of penalties imposed are issued to British drivers. Well, we can talk to James Mallet, who is the European Sales Director at MoveCore, which is based in the West Midlands, and on the line is Toby Ovens, who's the Director of Broughton Transport Solutions based in Wiltshire. Thank you very much for joining us. James, let me begin with you. What happened? What fines have you experienced?
Yes, good morning. Last year we had a big issue with 12 migrants getting into the vehicle, and we received a £19,500 fine for that. We've had several other smaller ones since then as well, which we're obviously displeased with.
When you get the fine, James, what's the reason given for the fine?
The reason is for the immigrants being on the vehicle. As much as we've done all the checks that we've been advised to by the customs, and we feel that it's not fair that we're doing all the checks that we're being asked to do, and we're still getting fined for it. OK,
let's hear from Toby, who's down the line for us. Toby, a similar situation, I'm understanding, with you.
Yeah, completely a similar situation.
So what happened in terms of fines?
We come through, if an immigrant is found on the vehicle, then 9 times out of 10 we seem to incur a fine from the border agency. We got some I suppose horror stories that we described, and we've had a driver wake up in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, in the middle of nowhere. He suspected he's had immigrants on his vehicle and visited. He made a phone call to myself. I made the call for him not to try and take them out of the vehicle on his own in the middle of the night, and I made the call for him to go to Calais and let the people who are trained to deal with the situation. That happened to be the border agency, who then swiftly issued me and the driver with a fine, even though we instructed them that they were in the vehicle.
So you were fined for carrying migrants, knowingly carrying migrants on the vehicle?
Yeah, I make the drivers. There is stories out there where drivers have been attacked when they tried to take the immigrants out of the trailers themselves, and I made the call for the driver's safety to send the vehicle to Calais and let them deal with it. And we made them aware that they were in the vehicle before they even looked at the vehicle, and we were hit with a fine.
James, I mean, you've heard this story, and I imagine some of your drivers are very fearful that this could happen to them as well. But I suppose the government would say we need to make sure that drivers are making all the checks and taking all the precautions they can to make sure they don't get into this situation. What's your reaction to that?
Yeah, I mean, certainly, we have a responsibility. We're a professional organisation. We are checking the vehicles. I think you're doing the right thing by handing them over to the agencies and the police, and then we still get slapped with a fine. It's just not fair, is it? And the amount of money that companies are having to pay out is, extortionate.
How much have you had to pay out, James, so far?
We've probably paid in the region of £40,000 to £50,000 over the last year and a half.
And how has that impacted your business? It's a lot of money, but I'm assuming that you have some contingency, whereas perhaps smaller businesses might not.
Well, we certainly didn't have a contingency plan, and but we've had to sort of suck up the. It's something that we were surprised, and for many years nothing happened, but it's just got worse over the last year and a half, really.
And Toby, I'll ask the same question to you in terms of how much you've been fined.
I would estimate somewhere between £10,000 and £15,000.
And the impact that's had on your business?
It has a massive impact. Obviously, that comes straight out of the cash flow of the business, etc. And if there's no reasoning if you don't pay the fine, the first lorry of yours that comes off the ferry, they impound in Dover or Folkestone and until you pay the fine. So you have no option but to pay it. I mean, I appealed with my situation where I believe we were unjustly fined. I appealed through my local MP, and my MP raised it in Parliament and basically came back to me and said, sorry, you've got to pay it. I can't do anything about it.
Toby, what do you want seen done on the ground? What would make the biggest difference to your drivers?
The honest answer is I think some support. The French, I don't think, they don't want them there. It's hard to say, really, because you can't send... I don't think you can send the army to France to sort them out. It's really hard to say. Just some support and some understanding, really, of what everyone's having to go through. I mean, it's not nice for drivers. I've had bricks thrown at lorries. I've had drivers, approached asking for cigarettes, and they shouldn't have to go through it.
And James, the Home Office has said that just 7% of penalties imposed are issued to British drivers, but still that does mean that businesses like yours are being affected. What would you like to be seen done on the ground?
Again, I agree with Toby. It's hard to know exactly the best thing to do. Certainly, I know they're in talks, and hopefully the focus is on that and trying to resolve, the issue. It's hard to know. Some support and more security. Our drivers are scared for their lives sometimes, and they've had bricks put through the windows, similar to Toby's company.
OK, James, thanks very much for talking to us. James Mallet there from Move Corp and Toby Ovens from Broughton Transport Solutions as well, both giving us their experiences that their drivers are going through as they travel through Calais and through the port.